dude, price is the price.
Hi, welcome back everybody to the Fitz and Franson show. We're excited today. We're joined by AJ Wilson from Penntek, and it's always fun when you guys get to listen to somebody else other than Jay and I kind of ramble on in our monotone voices here. So that we get somebody who's out in the field and meeting with some different dealers who's going to be able to share some perspective about some of the different things that people are experiencing out there. So always excited to be able to talk with Jay and share some perspective from some others as well too. So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys reaching out and having me on. Hopefully we get a slightly different monotone voice going on. How about that?
There you go, man. It's the smooth jazz hour today for sure. So
that's before you're going to put our listeners to sleep.
That's it. You maybe 2x today would be good. So AJ, if you do us a favor, I know there's a lot out there that listen to us, 4 of them or so, but for those that maybe don't know you, if you could give us a little bit of background, who you are and kind of what you've been up to and a little bit of who you like, what your experience is.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, AJ Wilson, I'm a regional sales manager for Penntek Industrial Coatings. I joined the Penntek team almost 3 years ago now. So I've got a fairly eclectic background, I would say. Always been in sales, ran cell phone stores for AT&T for a number of years. Prior to coming to Penntek, I've been in the finance world for about 10 years doing financial planning, investment advice, those types of things. High school, I sold car audio and video equipment for a few years. Every guy's dream in the late 90s, early 2000s was to be doing that. And then the most interesting thing, in my opinion, I've ever done, I worked for a manufacturer that made and sold underwater treadmills and custom therapy pools for dogs, horses, humans, the like. So did quite a bit of traveling with that one. I handled everything west of the Mississippi for that company. Kind of a unique thing. It was very, very fun.
Yeah. How about that? Pretty cool. So you went from making everybody's rear view mirrors rattle to making sure everybody's joints didn't hurt when they were getting rehabs done, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Pretty cool stuff, man. So, well, you're out and about now with dealers, and I know there's a lot going on in the Penntek world, and some new exciting things with the partnerships with Home Depot. But I guess if there's anything kind of exciting on the map right now that you're running into, I guess new initiatives or that kind of thing that you felt like was, hey, this is something we've run into here recently that's worth sharing. Anything, top of mind that be cool to kick off our show with today?
Oh man, I'll be honest with you, we've been so wrapped up with all the Home Depot stuff that I'm sure there are things that just aren't popping to mind at the moment, but that's been our main focus, is getting the Home Depot, I'll say, project up off the ground, getting more and more dealers into it, getting them launched. Matt, where you and I first got to know each other when you came into the Penntek network, financing was a huge thing. And that's still been huge, is getting dealers to understand why financing for their customers is a fantastic tool to use, and, continuing to push that with those dealers. And we've seen some great things over the last, 18 months or so, I'd say, of really focusing on that, seeing closing percentages go up, which is leading to revenues going up for dealers, which obviously is great for Penntek, because the more floors people sell, the more buckets, the more boxes you got to buy. And, that makes me happy, because then I can pay my mortgage payment at the end of the
That's good. Yeah. The 4 walls and a roof always makes the family happy at home. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, that's been a big initiative over the last year and a half or so for Penntek and a lot of the dealers. For those that, are maybe, a little slower or newer to adopting that, what do you think are, in your experience, I guess, some of the perceived hurdles, so to speak, that people are having to get over? And I guess if you could give maybe 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you've seen guys out there jumping over, how are they getting over it? And I guess what were those hurdles and how are they getting over it?
I think the biggest thing for our dealers, it's been the fee aspect of it, because it costs, it costs X amount percent on each finance job, and understanding this particular plan might have a 5% fee, or this one may have a 10% fee. How do we build that into our pricing? I'm a huge advocate of being consistent with our pricing across the board, and not saying, oh, there's a additional fee for this or an additional fee for that. I joke with most of my dealers. My little cousin of mine owns a auto body shop. And every time I get my wife's oil change there, he goes, oh, don't forget it's a 3% credit card fee. And I'm like, dude, just raise your prices by 3%. I'm going to pay it no matter what, but raise it by 3%, take that off of yourself, essentially. I don't want to be told there's a 3% fee. The price is the price. And helping dealers understand that, to where, hey, yeah, maybe it's say average of 7% on a dealer fee for financing. It's not off of every job, because not every job will finance it. If you're doing, $5 million a year in revenue, it's not 7% off that $5 million. The math that we figured, if you're looking at, in my eyes, if you're financing 20% of your revenue, I think that's in the long run going to be kind of the mainstay percentage. It equals out to 2.5% of your overall revenue. Build that into your pricing, and everybody pays for those fees. It makes it a lot easier for everybody else. And it's not, oh, I'll give you a cash discount, which I know has been huge in the home improvement space for the longest time for various reasons. But hey, the project's $5,000. I don't care how you want to pay for it. If you're like me, I'd probably put it on the Amex card. Give me those Delta points. I need to go on a vacation at some point in time, or, hey, if you're in an older generation and you got $5,000 sitting in the savings account, or $5,000 sitting underneath the mattress back home, I don't care how you pay for it. I just want you to do the project with me, because I believe I've got the best thing for you to solve this problem.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about, the kind of hurdle that I think a lot of dealers put in their mind, that it's this really complicated math equation they got to figure out and making it work. And cash was king for so many years that, we had this, mindset that if I could make more people go that way, and that's the way a lot of people wanted to do it. But, I think over the last, 10 or so years in our industry, especially as Google reviews and those kinds of things have become a predominant driver of why people do business with companies, that customer journey and being easy to work with is really a big thing that homeowners are looking for. And this is another way to make that easier for them. So to your point, like with, your family member there in the auto body shop, of, hey, just simplify it, right? And if you can simplify the decision-making process there at the end of just whatever's the easiest for you, is a big deal. So yeah, I think you're doing it the right way with your dealers there for sure. So that's cool to hear for sure. Jay, I'm all gonna.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What they were, like you mentioned, Google reviews. They know about you before you even walk into their door. Like you said, make it simple for them. With what we do with Penntek being such a want luxury item, I preach this to all the salespeople with my dealers. Like, any house you walk into, they want you there. They want this product. They want this project done. I cut my teeth in the finance world knocking on doors. That's not fun. It's not. I've had doors slammed on me. I've got horror stories from knocking on doors. Like, these people want you in their house. They want this project done. Find out what that kind of pain point is for them, why they want it done, and kind of lean into that and show them why you got the best solution.
Yeah. That's great. So in your time traveling around, what have you seen, or what feedback have you gotten from your dealers from the relationship you have with them, where they say, geez, AJ, I'm so glad you were here, or I'm so glad you shared this with us? Is there a theme this year that you've seen maybe different from other years, that you're really being given an opportunity to help serve these guys?
I think the integration of financing has been a big one for a lot of people. Some of the newer dealers that I have that are, say, 3 years or less, into their business, and then with Penntek as well, I've had a number of them tell me, hey, I can see that now. I'll use one as an example. I've been talking with him. He started 4 months before I joined Penntek. So him and I kind of have, I'll say, come into Penntek together, which has been cool. I had a little bit of an advantage of, all the back end stuff with Penntek and learning very quickly. And I've been telling him since day one, hey, this is a 3 crew minimum market that you have. And about 6 months ago, I was meeting with him, having breakfast, and he goes, you were right. Like I can see it now. I can see that path to that 3rd crew. He's got 2 up and going right now, which is fantastic. And to hear someone say, I can see it now. I hate to say I've been telling him this since day one, but sometimes it takes people a little bit longer, and that's fine. To get that feedback has been fantastic. Some of the things that I've been able to bring to the table from other dealers on how they do things, whether it's that white glove treatment or financing, what have you, that's been a big thing as well. There's just a lot of aha little moments that pop up. And, I credit that to the Penntek network. Penntek built prior to me joining makes my job a whole lot easier at the end of the day.
I think one of the main roles of a regional rep for a manufacturer is that, kind of grabbing information from one dealer and making sure you're sprinkling it around from dealer to dealer. And you're in 4th quarter now, and your, dealers are winding down their years and getting ready for the coming year. And Jay and I just started our process of walking dealers through programs that are gearing up and understanding how to plan for their next calendar year. And I'm sure you're starting to do that with your dealers as well too. What are the processes you're seeing for dealers right now how do they close out their year, and how do they start prepping and planning? I guess, what do you see as being successful for the dealers that are doing it the right way, and maybe areas of opportunity for dealers that could maybe do it a little bit better?
Better tracking of numbers. So the better tracking you have of numbers, the better data that you have makes that a whole lot easier. My most successful dealers, they've been talking about next year for 30 days at minimum at this point in time. The earlier you can start looking at it, reviewing, how this year has gone, what your numbers look like, that helps you forecast much better into next year. We'll say we've been fortunate. I'm not seeing a slowdown this year like what we have in the past, which is fantastic. A lot of the guys have listened to, not only myself over the last couple of years, but I've got a number obviously to work with, Jay and you guys with Powerful, and how do we change our marketing tactics a little bit, understanding there's a lag, it's about 90 days. So, we look at September. In my mind, for the Midwest, which is the majority where I service, September, you've got to be changing your focus away from the patios, the pool decks and whatnot, and looking more for interior. We want to look for the basements, the pull barns, the light commercial work, laundromats, fire stations. Those are the things that can keep our crews busy through the entire winter season. And it's really come to fruition this year from the looks of it, which is nice. But yeah, looking at the numbers, you got to look at your numbers. You got to understand your numbers. I've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks on that marketing side with being a little bit more strategic on your marketing spend at times. Hey, I've got 10 grand a month I want to spend on marketing. How does 10 grand in December make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe not. You still got to do marketing. Don't get me wrong. Don't pull back 100%. But does it make sense to do that same $10,000 budget in December? Maybe that would serve you better spreading it over February, March, and April as you're building up into that traditional busier season throughout the.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? You that proactive versus reactive kind of mindset, and it's
I lost your audio there, buddy.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Maybe on my end, I'm sorry, guys.
Can you hear me, AJ?
While we're waiting for him to come back, I think what AJ's driving at there, though, is that, Jay, you and I have been talking a little bit about it here recently, is the proactive versus reactive mindset stuff, right? And being ahead of the curve, allows you to be prepared for, those.
I'm not hearing anything.
All right. It's not, it's a peek behind the curtain.
Technology.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, I am. I'm
We're gonna
messing this up for you guys today. I apologize.
You're all good. All good, man.
Yeah, and luckily Courtney can chop the middle out.
Yeah. That looks better.
Are you back in, AJ?
I can see you guys just fine. I can't hear a word.
That's not the better half to see or hear.
Let's see.
Wonder if we send him a note to sign out and back in.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, did your computer switch speaker devices?
Nope. I tried switching it to see if that would
Okay.
do it. It's still nothing.
Why don't you leave and rejoin and see if that fixes it?
Okay. Give me 2 seconds.
But it's all right.
Yeah.
We had to kick that guy off the show.
Brutal.
Enough to him. Yeah. Funny.
We're sorry about that. AJ, very offensive.
Yeah.
We don't condone anything he was saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we
Now
don't
I can hear
condone
you.
anything AJ said.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. We had to get rid of that guest. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh,
So I guess I'll turn in my turn in all my Penntek stuff here tomorrow. I'm going to call from Jay.
Yeah, that's-
Like, I don't know about this guy.
That's fine. We'll just leave it.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll just see if it works.
We'll keep playing.
Courtney, do some timestamps to know where to go to chop this up. Looks like around 15 minutes into 18 minutes. Sweet.
Make it work. Well, what we were talking about before AJ rudely interrupted with his technical difficulties there, but it was that I think where you kind of hit a real growth spurt, right, or the aha moments, as I'll refer to them as, right, whether you're a rep or manager or even an owner, is where you start to get into that proactive mindset and thinking ahead. And you make a great point, and this is one of the things we're trying to train people we work with, on the consulting side of the powerful business that we're working with, that if we're not already thinking about next year, then we're probably a little too late, right? And if we're always thinking about today, then we're going to be behind the 8 ball. So you made a great point about looking at the numbers and tracking numbers. For your dealers that are doing it the right way, this is a pretty simple question to ask and a probably pretty direct answer you're going to give, but how often are they looking at numbers?
The successful ones are looking at it minimum on a monthly basis, but most of them are tracking it on, I'll say, a week-to-week basis. Of the successful ones, they hold weekly sales meetings. You got 3, 4, 5, 6 salespeople, have them in once a week. Galaxy Concrete Coatings comes to mind. I've sat in on a number of their weekly sales meetings, and their sales board is updated with, month-to-date numbers every week, so people can see where everybody's at, not only from a total sales number standpoint, but also from a closing percentage standpoint, which is huge.
Yeah.
And you can easily get lost in the day-to-day aspect of things. Every salesperson has a bad day. You run 3 appointments, you close none of them. The next day, you run 2 of them, you close 2. There's a fine line between looking at it too granular, but also a fine line between looking at it too broad. I love the way the Galaxy does it, and I preach that to all of my dealers that have multiple salespeople. Some of the smaller people where it's just one guy, one sales guy. Yeah, maybe not holding weekly meetings necessarily, but you still got to stay in touch, know where things are at, have expectations, from the ownership side of things, making sure that people are still doing what they're supposed to be doing, because it's not inexpensive to create leads by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, you got to create that culture of competition too, right? Having those boards, that kind of thing. Salespeople inherently are competitive. I think too many people avoid that because they're worried about, that public shaming kind of aspect of it. But there may be a touch of that, but at the core, if they're the right salespeople, there's some of that comes to the surface where it's like, I'm not going to be there very long because I'm going to make sure I get back to the top and get up where I need to be and where I want to be. So I think, on that level, that's important to do. But from the manager level and then the ownership level above that, it keeps it top of mind. So what levers you need to pull and what buttons you need to push in order to make sure you're going where you need to go. And then when it comes to this time of year too, you can start making decisions as to, okay, where are we going to allocate budget next year? And where can we grow and get, more opportunity to get a little bit bigger and a little bit more market share going into that next calendar year. So it's cool stuff.
I think it's another great thing with Penntek. Over the summer, we did as a manufacturer, kind of a sales contest for all the retail reps that are out there. And one of my guys in Ohio was calling me almost every day, asking for updates. Where, so-and-so's at? Do you know where so-and-so's at? He's having a killer year as it is. He's pacing for X what he normally does. And he's been selling floors for 5 years now, knows what he's doing. But he's been juiced up this year, and that contest really, really got to him, which was fantastic to see. He got second place, but, he was calling me all the time. Hey, where's so-and-so at? And he was closing anything and everything he could, man. And he was scrapping with them.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a great story. I think it's pretty neat where when you have a great organization with good structure, good routines, you call out the best of your teams.
Yeah.
Your sales guys, their option is do better, but they win and you win. And so that's great. Yeah. Galaxy runs a great organization.
Yeah. Don't go to Phoenix in August. I'll tell you that right now. I made that mistake.
So dealers that you've seen this year that maybe aren't having a 2X year, what do you think are some of the hurdles that they've maybe struggled to overcome, and how have you been able to help?
A lot of it, honestly, sticks around marketing, which is weird. I know, obviously, you and I, we talk fairly regularly with, accounts that you guys work with, that I work with as well, but getting people to, I'll say, update some of their marketing tactics that they do. I've got a few dealers that it's still, all their Facebook stuff is the before and after photos, and those are great. Don't get me wrong, but we see such success out of the short form video things, and just getting some different content out there has really driven a lot of dealers up this year. And some are they're kind of lagging behind, unfortunately. And it happens. You don't have the manpower to do things. You don't have the manpower to do things at times, but that's been a big thing. Getting people to spend more money on marketing, which again, you and I talk about quite regularly, is not always the easiest thing. It's the first thing people want to shut off, but it's the last thing that they need to shut off at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt and I were talking about this yesterday, just shifting your mind from dollars to percents and work through your marketing budget as a percentage.
Yeah.
And then, like you touched on earlier, don't spread that $10,000 month by month, do 6,000 in the slow season, but be strategic with it, and do 14,000 in the busy season, and know that your percentages are going to equate to sold jobs. Yeah, we've seen that here a lot too. We tend to talk dollars because it makes sense. It's like, how much are you spending weekly? Oh, spending 1,000 a week. We think you should bump it up to 1,500 a week, and 1,500, that's quite a bit. And then I start going down the road of, well, what's your percentage of marketing so far this year? The amount of people that have no idea. Like, do you have it reported anywhere? Do you know how much you've sold, and do you know how much you've spent on marketing? I think a lot of them are like, well, I think it's something like, and I'm like, no, you need to know. And then we can make projections.
You don't do anything crazy. Just run a basic P&L and, go from there.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a little tip in here for fourth quarter. We have a lot of dealers call us and say, cut spend, right? That's a normal thing. One of the things that I recommend to all of them is cut spend, but shift some of your marketing tactics just over to brand awareness.
Yeah.
So it's in the slow season, and we know that we're in November already. It's crazy. And November, December, January, when people are spending on Thanksgiving travel and Christmas gifts, and most of the month of December is get back to me after the first of the year, right? They're like, I just got to make it through this. And so what you want to do in those slow months is continue to spend money on strategic ads that just put you in front of people. Don't necessarily spend on lead gen, though it is lead gen indirectly, but have some content out there that's your brand, your logo, your story. And on Google and on Facebook, it's actually a cheaper advertisement. On Meta, it's called reach for awareness. Yeah, and you're looking at $5 per 1,000 people. And so I think that a lot of dealers get siloed in, I need leads, I need leads, I need leads.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do, but the bigger picture and the long play is continually put your name in front of people. And so even in the slow months, you can save some money and be strategically smart with your marketing budget, but you can move that money over to a different type of campaign.
Yeah.
That was a rant. I'm done.
No, you're good. We were talking about that a little bit on, I do a monthly call with all of my dealers, and we were talking a little bit about branding and whatnot. And it's like, look, if you're not keeping your employees stocked up with company swag, hats, shirts, quarter zips, like that's what you got to have. Those are the people, they're out and about in the community. You know, I did it for years. You know, I was every day for almost 10 years. It was a suit and a tie, you know, and I had my lapel pin, and that got me a lot of people just asked, hey, you work there. Oh, I've, you know, had insurance through them or whatever it might be. And I do it now. My wife, you know, kind of gives me crap about it sometimes, but I've always got a Penntek shirt on of some sort, even on the weekend. You know, is that going to get me business in the small town I live in? Not necessarily, but it's brand awareness. You know, I've had people come up to me at the ballpark in the summertime. You know, I'm just trying to get my kids, you know, to go get their ice cream or whatever after their game and then get home and showers. I know about Penntek, and I'm like, huh? Like, I live in a small town, like craziness. But we've got great dealers, you know, that service my area, and people know about it. So I've always got Penntek on. I got my powerful Yeti that you gave me. That's usually right next to me as I'm traveling. So it's
excellent.
It's all about a conversation starter. That's what it is.
Yep.
You know, I was talking with a buddy of mine in our world, and he referred to marketing as like educated gambling and kind of knowing when to push more chips in the middle and, you know, pull more chips out, that kind of thing. And, referred to it as like a hand of blackjack, right? So, you know, talking about, I got a good hand against a weaker hand, it's time to push a little bit more in. You want to continually keep playing hands, because that's when you're going to, you know, you're going to get a little bit here and a lot here, and then, you know, and knowing that percentage that you're going to be willing to risk to get a little bit back. But at the end of the day, it's always a little bit of a risk, and there's sometimes you're just playing to maintain your seat, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about there, and that's the important thing. If you don't play, though, you can't win.
Right.
And at the end of the day, too many people will say, well, I'm going to hold on to all my chips. Well, great. Then you're not in the game at all, and the people next to you are going to end up winning the game that you're not playing. So that's the challenge I think a lot of people have, is we get locked in on like, well, if I only put $5 in, I can only lose $5. Well, sure. But if you don't put $10 in, then you can't win $100, you know, kind of thing. And that's the thing we got to keep in mind, is that it's a percentage play, and that's the reality of it for sure. So, you know, you mentioned the travel you do, so maybe getting a little off topic here. I know you regional reps do a lot of traveling. If you could give any tips of all of the travel you do, what would be your number one travel tip you would give somebody out on the road these days?
That is a fantastic question.
Jay and I got a little bit of travel coming up, so that's why we're asking.
I would say for me, so I went about 7 years without doing significant travel for work, just, you know, in the office every day and whatnot. So getting back into it, learning the areas that I was going to be traveling to regularly was big. I stay at the same hotels. When I go somewhere, I found my hotel that I stay at. I'm a Hilton guy, so it's always a Hampton Inn or, you know, a DoubleTree or something along those lines. But I find my hotel that I like when I visit a dealer, and I stay at that same one every single time. So a little bit of a comfort level thing to it. Obviously, I know what to expect. Outside of that, give yourself time. You know, going through airports, it can be stressful enough as it is. 90% of people in airports, I swear, had never stepped foot in an airport ever in their life. Like, don't get there as quick as you can. If you've got a layover, like, don't make your layover 30 minutes. Give yourself time. I hate those people that stand up instantly as soon as the flight ends. It's like, you've got an hour and a half layover, just like I do. We've been talking for 45 minutes. That's terrible. These airports aren't that crazy to get through. You know, I can remember the first time I went up to to Minnesota when I started with Penntek to go through install training. I hadn't flown in years. I fly out of a small international airport. We got 10 gates, so it's nothing crazy. And I was talking to some of the guys like, oh yeah, Minneapolis, it's a huge airport, but it's really easy to get through. And I'm like, oh man, I get there and yeah, it was easy to get through, which is nice. Minneapolis is my favorite airport to go through. It is. You just give yourself time. Don't stress about it.
So now does your wife fly as often as you do, or is she not as often as you?
No. She loathes my travel sometimes.
Okay.
When I'm home too long, she's asking me, when are you heading back out? She stays at home. We've got 3 small kids. I've been fortunate enough that, she's been able to be a stay-at-home mom for our oldest is 12. So going on 12 years now, she's been staying at home. She loves to travel. Her and I travel very differently though. I will tell you that based upon the travels we do.
So there's a reason I'm asking. So it's my wife doesn't travel as often as I do, and we travel very differently too. So I now am very much like you, where I will book the layover that's a little bit longer because I'm not stressing about it. And I fly out of Richmond, which is a smaller, airport. I can park and be to the gate in 30 minutes. It's no big deal. My wife is the person that got to get there 2 hours early, check to make sure the gate actually exists. And the anxiety goes through the roof. So when we're going on family vacations, that's where my stress is in travel.
Oh yes.
Kind of thing. So yeah, it's hysterical that I don't stress when I'm traveling for work anymore. And I know I'm going to be delayed. It is what it is. And, and now when I take my wife with me, it's like, that's where the gray hair in my beard comes from. It's like, can we
you and me both, brother. I feel you on that one.
That's it. So what's new and exciting coming from Penntek? What are you guys excited about coming in 2026 here?
I'll go back to the Home Depot thing, man. As we keep getting more and more dealers in, I think I'm going to be in more Home Depot stores than hotels next year as I travel. Helping the associates learn about the program that it's out there, running sales leads, doing sales trainings with the reps and everything. I'm super excited about that. I've been in about 10 Home Depot stores now, with a couple different dealers, and the excitement from Home Depot associates is it's amazing. We're talking hourly employees, you're I'll say run of the mill people. They're great people, but they're excited about it. They haven't had a new program, I guess, like this in a number of years. And I was surprised to find out, I met a woman, she's been a store associate with Home Depot for 30.
Wow.
I don't think of that type of tenure when it comes to, a retail type associate. It was phenomenal to see that. And she knew her numbers. The DSM there was like, her name was Catherine. She was, hey, Catherine, how much did you sell on water filtration last week? And she's like, $8,254. It's like she knew it down to the penny. Like they're super excited about this stuff, and it's refreshing. I didn't expect that. You expect obviously everybody, management and above, to be excited about things like this, but their associates are just jazzed up about this stuff, man. So it's been super cool. I'm excited to get into more Home Depots over the next year or so and see how that transforms our business. It's going to be a big undertaking for everybody involved, but it's going to be a massive win for everybody.
Yeah, it's a good partnership. There's no doubt. I know Jay and I have a couple of dealers that we're working with who I think are on the next phase coming up here of getting into that partnership. I guess if you could give 1 or 2 pieces of advice to get prepared for that, what would be, 1 or 2 things that people should be doing to get prepared for that program so that they can hit the ground running?
Find someone who Home Depot will be their sole responsibility. You want someone who can go into those stores and create a friend with the associates. They're not even in there necessarily setting appointments with customers. They're talking to the associates, educating them on the program itself, how to set a lead in their system and whatnot, and just being a champion for that dealer, for Penntek, for the Home Depot partnership. We've seen great success out of that so far, but having someone just dedicated to that's all they do. I've got a couple dealers that have tried doing it with their sales reps, and hey, each sales rep's got 3, 4, 5 stores, whatever it may be. I've been a sales rep. You guys have been sales reps. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna translate the best. It's another thing for a sales rep to do in the day. And there's enough that they've got going on, trying to get from one appointment to another, being punctual, following up with paperwork and everything. Like that Home Depot store is going to be that thing that they can just push off. And we can't do that. That's not going to be a way to win in this program and really make it viable for that dealer. So finding someone or someone's, that's all that they do. They just go into the Home Depot stores. I envision it as you find someone who's later in their career or maybe semi-retired that wants to get out of the house for a few hours a day, get them in there, give them some apron cards, go in, talk to the associates. I mean, there's on average 150 people that work in each Home Depot location. It's a lot of people to talk to, and you're not going to get to all of them in a short amount of time. So being in there and just talking to those people is going to be huge.
Yeah, that's good.
Good advice.
Yeah. We're excited over here as well to just see what Home Depot can do. And it's a great partnership opportunity. And I have a lot of dealers on my end saying, hey, what do you know about Home Depot? What do you know? What do you know? And I'm like, hey, I'm not quite a mushroom, but I don't know as much as I'd like to. And so this has been a really valuable episode to hear from you on. You're not in leadership. We talk to a lot of owners and managers and stuff, but you do lead with influence. And so is there something that you early years, you were the rep, you were working for a boss, and now you're walking into these businesses with influence to influence the whole organization, really, their marketing, their sales, stuff like that. Is there stuff that you're surprised to find yourself doing in these opportunities with the dealers that you once would have sworn you'd never do?
Oh man, probably bury myself in spreadsheets. And just the data that can go into a concrete coatings dealership is kind of crazy if you think about it. We're not doing anything drastic. We're not building houses. There's not a lot of detail that goes into the work, but there's a lot of efficiencies that go into it. Knowing, like I said earlier, knowing your numbers is crucial. So I stare at P&Ls more often than I would probably like to. I'm looking at spreadsheets more often than I would like to, but it's a necessary thing to do. I'm a firm believer, and always have been, in knowing your numbers, no matter what part of an organization you're at. If you're me looking at, numbers from a purchasing standpoint for growth and everything, or if you're a sales rep, knowing your numbers, your averages, you got to know those things because that's the only way you can get better.
Jay, it's funny how often we get that theme as an answer to that question.
I know. No, your numbers. AJ, maybe this is something that you have some insight into that our listeners could take action on right away. But what is the best platform you've seen used by any of your dealers for knowing their numbers? We talk about CRMs, the spreadsheets, the P&L and things like that. But is there anything specific that you're like, oh, if you're not using this, jump on board?
I would say Builder Prime, to be honest with you. That's by far the most popular CRM type system within our network. And it does, from what I can see, the best job of making it easy to find those numbers, your average ticket sizes, average square footages, those types of things. Closing percentage, obviously, is a big one as well. That seems to be the easiest one to use. It can scare people, though, because Builder Prime is a very, very big tool, but it does a great job of what it does. It really does.
Sure. Yeah. It makes those conversations easier to have when you're not digging through spreadsheets or your Google Drive. Where did I put that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's right at your fingertips. So I can call a dealer and say, hey, what were your KPIs for last month? And they can run me average, ticket size, average square foot, NSLI. They can run all those for me within a couple of minutes, which is great. And that makes for easier conversation because we can see what those numbers are. We can look at trends that you're having. And I can have insight and see things that dealers don't because I see what every dealer does. I can help with strategies at times that, it's that, like we said, that little aha thing that It might be simple. They didn't think about it, but it popped in my head because I've been talking about it for 6 months with 10 other people.
Yeah. It's great. And we're not endorsing Builder Prime, but they should be on our show. So I'm sure they're listening now. So they'll probably shoot us an email and say, hey, we need to be on your podcast. Yeah, that's right. Really important guy.
Yeah.
His name is AJ.
Yeah.
Lots of influence.
There you go.
So that's great.
If you, another question here for you that we'd like to ask it and maybe rephrase it a little bit, since you work with dealers, and we'll give it to kind of like, instead of a leader, a new leader, if you were going to give a piece of advice to any new dealer coming into the network, what would be your one piece of advice to somebody starting a new dealership?
Take your time, but hurry up. You got to take the fire hose as it's coming at you, because that's the way the world works. When you're starting something new, it's a lot of information, but take your time in interpreting that information that's being given to you. Find one or two small things, implement them, build upon them. Don't try and do everything all at once. That will set you back. If you try and take 2 steps forward, if you try and change everything at once, you're 10 steps backwards at that point in time.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to make those mistakes that everybody has made, even though myself or someone else is telling you not to do it. Sometimes you got to stub your toe.
That's good advice. I like it.
That's quotable. Cool. Well, I think we've got a lot of good information covered today. AJ, it was a pleasure to have you on here. Like you said earlier, you and I chat pretty regularly, and you came to mind right away when we were thinking about people that have a face for radio that we could get on this show.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, guys. It's an honor to join you guys on here. I've thoroughly enjoyed working alongside you guys in a couple different capacities, obviously, during my time with Penntek, and I can't wait to continue that relationship.
Excellent. And to our listeners, if you haven't yet, hit the like and subscribe, hit the bell, go to our different socials. We're kind of everywhere, and share the love. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Happy hunting.